Okay, so have you seen this video that's been going around?
The one with the AI glasses?
Yeah, the ones that can, like, identify anybody just by looking at them?
It's pretty wild, right?
Yeah. And kind of creepy. Like, imagine just walking down the street and suddenly knowing everything about every stranger you pass.
I know, it's got everyone talking about, privacy and how fast AI is developing these days.
It's like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? But apparently, this is actually real. Or at least that's what the video is trying to make us think.
Right. It's a demonstration by this Dutch journalist, Alexander Klupping. He's walking around wearing these glasses, just chatting with random people.
And supposedly, while he's talking, the glasses are scanning their faces and pulling up all this personal info.
Yeah, like their name, their job, all kinds of stuff. Klupping actually said he wanted to make a point about how easy and scary facial recognition can be, especially when it's built into something we wear every day.
Yeah. Mission accomplished, right? The video is definitely unsettling. It seems like it just works instantly. Analyzes faces, boom, personal details right there.
Well, there's a catch. Nobody's actually confirmed that the tech in the video is real.
Wait, really? So this whole thing could be fake?
It's possible. I mean, the stuff it shows would be super advanced, way beyond anything we've seen commercially available.
But there are facial recognition systems out there already, like Palm Eyes and stuff, right?
Yeah, for sure. But nothing that's, this seamlessly integrated into a pair of glasses and so accurate and instantaneous. At least not that we know of.
So we're kind of in this weird gray area where the video could be showing us the future, or it could be a really elaborate hoax.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why it's gotten so much attention, I think. It plays on those anxieties we all have about privacy disappearing as technology gets more and more powerful.
Like Klupping held up a mirror to society and said, hey, this is what's coming. Are you ready for it?
Right. And even if it's not actually real right now, the fact that so many people believe it, that's telling. It means we need to start having these conversations about what kind of world we want to live in.
Okay, so the video might be real, it might be fake, but it's definitely gotten everyone's attention.
For sure.
Klupping said they were able to pull names, employers, all that from just a few seconds of video of random people. He definitely wanted to make a point about how vulnerable we are in this age of tech.
It makes you think about how we define privacy these days. We're used to sharing information online, but having our faces become walking data points, that's different.
Yeah, it's like the video is a warning sign, right?
Yeah.
A heads up about what could happen if facial recognition becomes totally mainstream.
For sure. And the potential consequences are, well, they're huge. Imagine if anybody could identify you anywhere, just with a glance. Think about what that means for law enforcement, security, even just like daily social interactions.
It's kind of mind-blowing and honestly pretty scary. But before we go full dystopian panic here, let's step back and talk about the actual tech behind this. Can AI really do what we see in the video? Or is that still science fiction territory?
That's a great question, and it's a complex one. The reality is facial recognition has come a long way, but it's not quite as simple or foolproof as that video makes it seem.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. How does AI facial recognition actually work? Can it really identify strangers like in that video, or is there more to it?
Well, it's not quite as magical as it seems in the video. The tech has advanced, yeah, but it's not that simple or perfect.
So what can it actually do then? Like, how does it work?
Think of it this way. These systems basically analyze your facial features, like the distance between your eyes, the shape of your nose, all those unique details.
So it's like a fingerprint, but for your face.
Exactly. It creates this facial fingerprint, and then it compares that fingerprint to huge databases of images.
Okay, so like photos from passports, driver's licenses, even social media.
Right. And the bigger and better the database, the more accurate the system is.
Got it. So it's not like it just knows who someone is. It needs that info already to make a match.
Yeah, it's not mind reading or anything, and that's one of the limitations. The database is crucial.
So if someone's not in any of those databases, the system wouldn't be able to identify them.
Theoretically, yeah. But those databases are constantly growing. Every time you upload a photo online, use face recognition on your phone, you're potentially adding to it.
Whoa, I never thought about it like that. It's like we're all feeding this giant facial recognition machine without even realizing it.
It's something to think about for sure. But back to those limitations, there's more than just the database issue. You know how your face can look totally different in photos depending on the lighting, the angle?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I have so many photos where I'm like, who is that?
Right. And those things, lighting, angles, even facial hair, they can mess with the accuracy of these systems.
Plus, people age. Their faces change over time.
Exactly. So it's not as easy as point a camera, get an ID, like in that video.
Right, which brings us back to the question, is that video even real?
Hmm.
If it is, the tech would have to be insanely advanced to overcome all that stuff.
It would. Identifying people in real time under all sorts of conditions with perfect accuracy, that's a big leap from where we are now.
So maybe we shouldn't believe everything we see on the internet, huh?
Probably a good rule of thumb in general, but even if that video isn't entirely accurate, it still sparked an important conversation.
About where this technology is going and what it means for us.
Exactly. We need to talk about these things, the implications, whether it's happening right this second or not.
It's like clumping through a stone into the water.
Yeah.
And the ripples are still spreading. We can't ignore it.
We can't. And separating fact from fiction, that's where we have to start. Understanding what facial recognition can actually do, what the risks are, and, the potential benefits too.
Okay, so maybe the video's exaggerating a little, but the point it makes, that's still pretty serious, right?
Definitely. Think about it. What happens if your face becomes your main form of ID? It changes how we interact with everything, from businesses to just walking down the street.
Yeah, I can see how that could be super convenient, but also, super invasive.
Exactly. That's the whole dilemma with facial recognition. It's a powerful tool, no doubt, but it could be misused in a lot of ways.
Now let's talk about those potential downsides. What are the risks of facial recognition becoming this widespread?
Well, one of the biggest concerns is mass surveillance. Think about it. A network of cameras constantly scanning faces, tracking everyone's movements.
That sounds like something out of, a Big Brother nightmare, but is that realistic?
More than you might think. It's already happening in some places, like China. They have a huge system in place.
Oh, wow, I didn't realize it was already being used like that.
Yeah, and we're seeing it more and more in other countries, too. Law enforcement, private companies are all using it.
So that mass surveillance thing, it's not just a hypothetical worry. It's already happening.
And as the technology gets better, cheaper, it's only going to get more common.
Okay, so mass surveillance is a big one. What else should we be worried about?
Another issue is bias. These algorithms, they're trained on huge data sets of images. And if those data sets aren't diverse, the algorithms can become biased too.
Wait, you're saying the system itself could be prejudiced?
Yeah, basically. Studies have shown that some systems are worse at identifying people of color, women, certain groups.
That's messed up. Built-in discrimination. That could have serious consequences.
Absolutely. It could lead to misidentification, wrongful arrest, all kinds of problems. That's why we need to be having these discussions now, demanding transparency from the companies developing this tech.
So it's not just about the tech itself. It's about how it's used, who has access to it, all of that.
Exactly. We have to make sure it's used responsibly, ethically, that there are safeguards in place.
Okay, so we've covered the potential downsides. But there must be some upsides too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it can't be all bad. I mean, there's got to be some good that can come from all this, right? It can't all be bad.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like I said, it's not black and white. There are definitely potential benefits to facial recognition. We need to talk about those too.
Okay, so what are some of the good things, the ways it could be used to help people?
Well, for starters, think about law enforcement. Facial recognition can help identify criminals, find missing persons,
Right, that makes sense. It could help solve crimes faster, maybe even prevent them.
Exactly. And it's not just crime, it can also boost security. Imagine using it at airports, banks, anywhere that needs tight security.
Yeah, to verify identities, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it could streamline things, make them more secure.
So it can be more efficient and more secure. That's good. What else?
It can even be used in healthcare. Like some medical conditions can be diagnosed using facial recognition, and it can help track if patients are taking their meds.
Huh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it can even help people with memory problems recognize their loved ones.
Wow, that's incredible. So it's not just about surveillance and security. It can actually improve people's lives.
Exactly. And those are just a few examples. I mean, as this technology gets better, who knows what we'll be able to do with it.
Kind of crazy to think about all the possibilities, but going back to that video,
Yeah.
how are people reacting to all this?
Mhm.
Are they more excited about the potential benefits or more freaked out about the risks?
It's a mix, really. You've got some people who are all about the cool new tech. They see the possibilities, how it can make things better, easier.
The early adopters.
Right. But then you have others who are much more wary. They're worried about how it could be abused, the privacy issues.
They're saying, hold on, let's think of this before we go too far.
Yeah, exactly. They want regulations, guidelines, to make sure it's used ethically.
And I'm sure there are a lot of people in between too.
Oh, yeah. Most people are probably somewhere in the middle, trying to weigh the good and the bad, figure out where they stand.
It's a tough one. There are no easy answers.
Yeah. The important thing is that we're talking about it, having open and honest conversations about this technology, what it means for us for the future.
I think that's what that video did. Whether it was intentional or not, it kind of forced us to confront these questions head on.
Right, and that's good. The more we know about facial recognition, the better choices we can make about how we use it, how we control it.
So for our listeners out there, what should they be thinking about as we enter this, facial recognition era?
I think the most important thing is to stay informed. Learn about the technology, how it works, how it's being used, how it could affect you.
Yeah, don't just ignore it and hope it goes away.
Exactly. It's not going anywhere, so we have to be aware, be involved, and make our voices heard.
Well said. And for everyone listening, what do you think? Now that you've seen what AI facial recognition can do, the good and the bad, where do you think we should draw the line? It's something to think about as we move forward.
Absolutely. And remember, keep learning, keep asking questions. This is just the beginning of the AI revolution, and we're all part of it.
That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep exploring.